New construction homes are becoming more popular than ever. Less maintenance, more natural lighting, and bigger spaces is definitely more attractive. On the other hand, with resale homes, you tend to get more home for your money and less of a headache during the purchase process. One of the biggest differences during the purchase process is going to be the amount of deposit that you have to put down for a new construction or resale. When it comes to resale, what I'm referring to is pretty much anything that is not new construction that you're buying directly from the builder. So even if it's built in 2022 or 2023, but you're buying it from the first owner of the home, then that would be considered resale. Anything after that is also resale. So when it comes to a resale transaction, typically the deposit is about 1% of the purchase price of the home. So if the purchase price is $800,000, the deposit would be, of course, $8,000, and the closing attorney would hold this deposit. This is a bit different with new construction. However, when you're buying a new construction home from the builder, they could sometimes require a deposit as high as 10%. It used to be 20% years ago when there were far more buyers, but now it's somewhere between 5 and 10%. So for an $800,000 home, that would be $40,000. So very big difference when it comes to the deposit. $40,000 versus $8,000. And when it's new construction, it's the builder that is holding that deposit. And it's very difficult to get that deposit back if the builder defaults on the contract or if something goes wrong with the house. There's very few instances where you can get that deposit back. However, with a resale home, it's far easier to get that deposit back if the seller defaults on the contract. So that's just one thing that's different about new construction and resale. Another one is definitely going to be the inspection process. If you're buying a new construction home or a resale home in Atlanta, feel free to call, text, or email me anytime. We love helping people buy their homes here in Atlanta and make the relocation to the Atlanta area. It's our favorite thing to do. Thank you so much to everybody who has reached out. But another difference is definitely going to be the inspection process. With a resale home, you are going to do that inspection period as soon as you go under contract. As soon as you have the seller accept your offer, you're going to have the inspection period. It's usually 3 to 5 days here in Metro Atlanta. That's where you'd have an inspector go out to the home, and then really any other kind of inspection that you want to do is done during that inspection period. However, with new construction, you're going to do that far closer to like the closing date. You're going to wait until the home is almost completely built, first of all, and then you're also going to wait closer to the closing date. The builder is typically going to give you and your agent a opportunity to go to the house and find out anything that's wrong with the house. And typically with new construction, it's not anything major. It's usually not something structural. Usually it's maybe like a cabinet door that doesn't close all the way, or like a light bulb that's out, or like a switch, electrical, maybe there's something wrong with a switch or something. It's usually something minor like that. And then you go to the home and you put blue tape all over, wherever you see there's an issue, they'll give you like a roll of painter's tape and you put, hey, look, there's an issue with this switch or with this cabinet door or whatever it might be. And then they've repaired those things before the closing date. You can have a home inspector go to the home before the closing date, but they're really only going to find any kind of code violations. Again, not common with new construction, and the inspector isn't going to find anything major. That's pretty rare because it has just been built, but it is possible for the home inspector to find any kind of code violations, and it's also helpful for peace of mind for the buyer to have a full, thorough inspection on the home, again, much closer to the closing date with new construction. Another big difference is going to be the amount of time to close. Certainly with resale, you can do something like 21 to 30 days, depending on when everybody is willing to close, but it's usually about 30 days or less. With new construction, it really just depends on how far along they are in the process of building the home. If the home hasn't been built at all, like if they have not even poured the foundation, they might say 4 or 5 months to build the home. It's probably going to be more like 6 months. Every builder that we have ever worked with has never been early with their time schedule estimates. They're always either right after on time or much later. So something between 4 and 6 months, depending on when the house has started its construction. And then definitely another big difference is going to be the price of a home. Here in Marietta, a typical 2,000 or 2,500 square foot home, 4 bed, 3 bath, resale, so maybe built in like the 90s or early 2000s, you're looking at somewhere around 500,000. For a new construction home built in 2024, you're looking at closer to 750. So very big difference on a home. In Alpharetta, same thing, 4 bed, 3 bath home built in the early 2000s or even 2010, you're looking at about 600,000 or 700,000. New construction, at least $1 million in Alpharetta. So very big difference when it comes to price. You can get more home for your money buying resale than new construction, but of course, you can have less maintenance problems with new construction. You're not going to have to get right in there and start dealing with some kind of electrical issue or plumbing issue or the HVAC going out. So certainly a lot of pros and cons when it comes to new construction and resale. Another big difference is going to be lender and builder incentives. When you're buying resale, you're not really getting very many kind of incentives from the seller. It's very much a seller's market right now. So the sellers have the advantage when it comes to selling homes. So you really don't see sellers offering to pay closing costs. Here in Metro Atlanta, it's very rare for a move-in ready home that has only been on the market for a few days. It's rare for the seller to pay for closing costs. However, with new construction, they are just as much of a business as anything else. So it's in their best interest to sell homes as quickly as possible, which means they are far more willing to help out with closing costs or with down payment assistance. Different builders are going to offer different incentive packages, especially if you're using their preferred lender. Two more big differences: the upgrades. Obviously, with new construction, you're going to be able to do upgrades. Hey, we don't like the way that this flooring or whatever, we want a different kind of material flooring, or the countertops, we want a different upgraded countertops. You can do that with new construction. Obviously, you can't really do that with resale. The seller's not going to change the countertops because you don't like their laminate countertops. They're not going to put in court. But then another big difference is going to be a due diligence period. This is otherwise known as the inspection period. Again, resale, 3 to 5 days for an inspection period. This is super helpful for the buyer. With new construction, you get no due diligence period. There's not really any kind of period where you can go and get your money back if something's wrong with the house. They don't really have that. You put that deposit down and then everybody expects for everybody to fulfill the contract. So very big difference there as well. One of my favorite new construction companies is Toll Brothers. Toll Brothers recently started making homes in Woodstock, Georgia, which is just outside of Atlanta and one of the best suburbs of Atlanta. They are building amazing homes there, 5 bedrooms, enormous living rooms, giant kitchen islands. It's amazing how beautiful these homes are. And we actually just made a video. We went on a tour of those homes at Toll Brothers in Woodstock. You can check it out right here. I'll see you in the next video.